Hey friends, welcome back to the Godspeed Garage. Well, I said I wouldn't do it, and here I am doing it. It's the start of another project. So this is my 1954 Chevy, and a quick story behind this. I had a 92 Chevy pickup truck, and it was an extended cab, four-wheel drive, but it started to develop a really bad knock in the bottom end, and so it was kind of on its last leg. And as I do when I can't sleep at night, I just go on Craigslist and search for things that I don't need and can't afford. And I saw the ad for this guy, and they wanted $1,200 for it, or considering trades. So I hit the guy up, went out and looked at it. It was a younger guy who had this car, and he had just gotten married, and I think he was not really looking for a project. So I asked him if he wanted to trade for the pickup truck and sent him some pictures. He never even came out and looked at it, but he agreed to trade me. In fact, he loaded this thing up on a trailer, towed it from south of Bend all the way to Sisters, which is probably about half hour, maybe 45 minutes or so, and unloaded it, loaded up my pickup, and hauled it away. It's a two-door post, and had it not been a two-door, I probably would have just passed right by it and not even considered it. But it was a good trade in my mind. At some point in this car's life, it's definitely been hot rodded because somebody put that 4-bolt main in it that you saw me pull out and put into my pickup truck. And it has a rear end that's out of like a 64 something GM car, according to the numbers. And it's been lowered, but not correctly. I think they just cut a spring in the front end, and the rear end is on top of the leaf springs, but they completely put the U-bolts on upside down and booger welded some blocks in there. It didn't have any wiring or a drive shaft or anything like that, so I never heard the motor run. And it also had a fiberglass one-piece hood that the guy kept and just kind of slapped on the hood that was with this car. It was in really bad shape. And it had bucket seats out of a 70s Camaro, which were hideous. So I actually bought a donor car off this guy I found on Facebook, but he had literally 20 acres filled with cars. It was kind of making me mad as I was going through it, because all these cars could have been on the road again if they had done something with them 30 years prior. But sitting over on the other side of the mountains where it rains all the time, it's not dry like it is here in Central Oregon, stuff rusts pretty quick and weeds grow through it. Anyway, he had probably a dozen 53 and 54 Chevy cars, and the grandson was taking over the property and was just hauling everything off to the scrapper. And as much as I tried to negotiate with them to get just parts, he said, no, you have to buy a whole entire car. I got a whole entire car for $500, which was a pretty good deal, because the knick-knack parts and piece, find all the stuff that I needed for this car, would have cost way more than $500. But I got a whole car so I could see where it goes, how it fits on there. I knew it was the right stuff. So I did some work on the body. As you can see, it's got primer spots. Those were some deep pitted rust spots that I got after and wanted to cover just to keep it from pitting any further. And I got a wiring kit for it from a local guy here and wired the whole thing up. And the first time I ran the motor, it was surprisingly smooth. It fired right up.
First ride, Erik. It's moving under its own power. You got brakes? Hey, you're good. Hey, no rubber burning.
I sold the bucket seats. I actually found this bench seat. It's out of a 90-something Chevy pickup, and it's the 60/40 seat. Because for me to get my wheelchair in and out, I need to be able to scooch the seat as far back as possible to get it up over me. And I actually like the bench seat for these cars, and so this was a really good option. I didn't have to do anything to it. It was the right width. All I did was chop down the seat brackets where it mounts to the floor, so it's lower, so it actually sits in there the way I think it's supposed to. I completely redid the dash. There was a dent in the middle with some holes in it from where I think they had a tachometer. I had to fill in those holes, weld them up, and then kind of bang it out, smooth it out as much as possible, and Painted the whole thing with the color scheme I'm going for, which is a dark blue, almost black color, and a white, kind of an off-white two-tone. I took a lot of the parts off the parts car. I made this grill. As you can tell, it's got extra teeth, which I love that look. I painted the whole front end, worked out a lot of rust issues, filled in the hole where the antenna was in the fender. I actually did take it to a car show and drove it to one of our car club hangout events. But the engine started running really rough, and I noticed one day there was fluid leaking from the rear end bearing over on the driver's side, and so I got a new bearing and popped that in there, and it still leaks. So I think there's something wrong with the housing. And then the passenger front wheel started leaking brake fluid, and where the shock mounts to the lower A-arm completely busted, and so it lurches to the left in oncoming traffic. There's no power steering, no nothing. So that's kind of one of the reasons why I parked it, because the next thing I'm gonna do is install a Mustang 2 kit. So hopefully this thing will drive and handle like a new car, so it'll be lowered correctly. It'll have power rack and pinion steering, so no more Armstrong steering, trying to hit the brake with my hand because I can't use my feet. And then also the rear end in this thing, I think it's time for it to go bye-bye. I have the Chevy 10 bolt out of that S10 that currently is holding up the back half of the frame of the Dodge Podge. That's gonna get reworked, probably put a posi in it and then throw it in this thing. Because my goal for this car is to make it sort of a sleeper, but really a really fun road trip car. Because a lot of my bucket list items are taking an old car, cruising old highways, and busking. So I've thought about cruising all of Route 66 and just stopping all the locations, opening up my guitar case, playing for money to get gas to head to the next town, and just take like 3 months to do it. I think that'd be awesome. There's a few other road trips that I'd love to do in this thing too. So that's the plan. Now they call this a 2-door sedan. Yep, I said sedan, 2-door sedan. Sounds like an oxymoron, but that's what they call this thing. But the way I like to run all my vehicles is I like everything that you see to be original. I want to feel like I'm driving a 1954 Chevy back in 1954. But everything you can't see, engine, transmission, cooling system, rear end, suspension, steering, everything else, I like to be upgraded because, let's just face it, technology has come a long way since 1954. And for a road trip car, I want it to handle nice. I don't want it to feel like I've been beat up after driving it for an hour or so. So it's got a lot of rust spots where you would expect water and dirt to collect, which doesn't surprise me considering this thing spent the majority of its life, if not all of its life, in the Pacific Northwest. And this is the worst of it, right up here by the windshield. This sits underneath a trim piece. And of course, water runs off the windshield and it gathers dirt on its way down, and it sits up underneath that trim and eats away at it. So that's going to be a pretty hard patch to fix, but I have to remove the windshield anyway because some genius decided to run the windshield wipers without a blade on it, and it totally scratched up the windshield. And the only real major dent is on the passenger side rear quarter, which I cut that section out of the parts car so I can make a patch panel. And somebody at some point busted out the windows on this thing. So it doesn't have any front windows. The rear windows were fine. They were just covered with stickers. But once I got those off and reduced the horsepower by about 50, I just greased up the hand cranks and those windows went up and down. But since there were no windows on this thing and just these holes for the trim, made it really easy for water and dirt to collect at the bottom of these doors. And now it's got this custom feature. Yeah, doors aren't supposed to do that. But the good news is I was able to find a set of 2-door post doors complete with windows and the window mechanisms. And they were down in Palmdale, California, where my buddy Justin lives. So I had my buddy Justin go pick them up for me and hold them until I can get down there to haul them back to Oregon. But they're totally rust-free other than surface rust, and there's only one little tiny dent down in the bottom corner, which is really not a big deal at all. For what I paid for both of these complete doors was about the price of what the window regulators and the glass would have cost me. I'll probably just replace the rubber, clean them up, and eventually I'll replace the glass, but for now I'm just going to run it like it is. And this is what you call a felony hole. Because when dudes get chased by the cops, they throw anything that's going to cause them a felony out that thing. Let me show you how I fixed it. Done. Now there is a place for my foot to go to hit the gas pedal.